Jake, I want to ask you about your role on Overruled a little
Mhm.
bit, just because, that was such an iconic show. And that was soon after, say, around 2007,
Seven or eight, I
2007
think.
or eight.
Yeah.
And so you did that show. And then years later, recently, you
Mhm.
reprised the role of Jared on Life with Luca, which was a TV movie that was sort of like I guess like a sequel to the Life with Derek,
Show, yeah.
the show. So what was it like to reprise that role like 10 years later?
It was so fun, right? So Jeff Biederman, who created both shows, I get an email one day that's basically like, "Hey, I have this idea." And always when Jeff emails me, I'm like, "Okay, what do we got?" But he's like, "I've got this idea. There's this one scene in Life with Luca, where Casey, so Ashley Leggett, um, her character, I guess Jeff had a real thing for lawyers at some point because they turned Casey into a lawyer. And he goes, I've got this one scene where Casey's kind of making like a bit of a fool of herself in judges' chambers, and there's an opposing attorney who's just like kind of needling her a bit. Um, I think it would be really funny if you did it. Are you interested in any way? And I immediately, like, I didn't reply immediately, but immediately I was like, "Are you kidding me? Yes, of course, I would love to do that." But I did the thing that actors are supposed to do, and I called my agent. And we discussed it, right? And they were like, "There's, you know, industry nonsense, whatever." But then eventually she was just like, "Bottom line, like, do you really want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, like that sounds so fun." And I've known Ashley since the Sadie days, right? So like, I immediately emailed Jeff back after this phone call with my agent, and then immediately after emailing Jeff back, I messaged Ashley, and it was basically a day, and this was kind of like how fondly I even look back at some of the Sadie days, and even with Overruled too, right? It was a day where I got to like show up to work and just kind of mess around with my friends,
Yeah,
and I think amongst everything, yes, this is a very serious, it is a very large, it is a very money heavily involved industry. So of course that leads to some very serious things. And of course there are very serious projects, and all of this is all very serious. But also at the end of the day, we don't fall into this stuff by accident, right? We start doing this, especially when we started as kids, because it was fun,
yeah.
and I don't even think any part of me, this may sound bad. I don't think any part of me was concerned with acting that day on that set. But I was just like, I was there, and the way that the script was written, and I had gotten, so when Jeff first emailed me, he sent me the script, and then I had gotten the revisions, and it felt really kind of cool because in the revision the character's name actually then changed from like just opposing counsel to actually Jared. But even some of the lines were just tweaked ever so slightly, right? And again, this goes back to our thing of like, Jeff knows me. And so that once I was attached to it, he was like, okay, I can, bring that voice in a little bit, like, the excellent and accomplished writer that he is, uses his actors in the way that he knows how to. Right.
That's
And
so
it just,
cool.
yeah, it was, I think I was there for maybe 4 or 5 hours that day, and like just laughing for most of it.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of, it wasn't a big of a gap, but after Naturally Sadie, I did a guest spot on a show called The Latest Buzz.
Mm-hmm.
And it was filmed, I think, in the same school that we filmed in. It was many of the same crew,
Hmm.
and a lot of the same writers and stuff. So it was this very odd experience where I was just like coming back to hang out with my friends and like just
Hmm.
have fun. So